It was a cold winter morning. The wind was strong, and the streets were quiet. Snow covered the ground like a white blanket. People walked quickly, trying to stay warm. In the middle of the town square sat an old man, alone. The old man wore a thin coat and had no gloves. His hands were red from the cold. Beside him was a small bag with a few coins. He held a sign that read, "Hungry and cold. Please help." Many people passed by but did not stop. A little girl named Emma walked by with her mother. She saw the old man and slowed down. "Mom," she said, "he looks so cold and sad. Can we help him?" Her mother looked at the man and nodded kindly. They walked over to the man and smiled. Emma gave him her sandwich and a pair of warm socks from her bag. Her mother took off her scarf and wrapped it around his neck. The man looked up with wide eyes, full of surprise. "Thank you," he whispered. "I haven't felt warm in days." Emma smiled and said, "Everyone needs a little kindness." Her mother gave him a small bag of food and a cup of hot tea from their thermos. The man's eyes filled with tears. People around him began to notice. A young man stepped forward and handed the old man a blanket. A woman gave him a warm hat. Soon, a small crowd had gathered, each person giving something small but full of care. The old man looked around at the people helping him. His heart felt warm for the first time in many weeks. "I thought the world had forgotten me," he said. "But today, you reminded me that kindness still lives." Emma and her mother said goodbye and walked away. Emma looked up and asked, "Do you think we made a difference, Mom?" Her mother smiled and replied, "Yes, sweetheart. Sometimes a small touch of kindness can warm a whole world." From that day on, the old man sat with a smile. He still had little, but he no longer felt invisible. People greeted him, brought food, and sometimes just stopped to chat. The town had changed, all because of one kind act. And so, the story of a little girl's kindness spread. Others began to look out for one another. Helping someone in need became a part of daily life. A touch of kindness had opened many hearts. The snow still fell, and the wind still blew. But in that small town, something had changed forever. Warmth did not just come from coats and blankets, it came from caring hearts. The next morning, Emma woke up early. She couldn't stop thinking about the old man in the square. She asked her mom, "Can we visit him again today?" Her mom smiled and said, "Yes, kindness doesn't stop with one act." Emma was happy and packed another sandwich. When they reached the square, the old man was there. But he looked different. He had the scarf around his neck, the socks on his feet, and a small blanket wrapped around his legs. He smiled when he saw Emma and her mom coming. "Good morning, little angel," he said kindly. Emma gave him another sandwich, and her mom handed him a thermos with warm soup. He thanked them again and held the thermos tightly. "Your kindness brought others to me," he said. "Now I feel like I have friends." Emma's mom nodded. Sometimes, one kind act leads to many. Later that week, a man from the town's cafe heard the story. He came to the square with a warm meal and coffee. "Would you like a hot breakfast every morning?" he asked. The old man was surprised but nodded. "Yes, that would be lovely," he said with a smile. News about the girl and the old man spread through the town. The local school started a project called Kindness Week. Children brought food, warm clothes, and cards with kind words. One card said, "You are important. You are not alone." The old man kept it in his pocket. Emma visited the old man every day. She listened to his stories. He talked about his younger days, his work, and how he lost his home. Emma listened carefully and said, "I'm glad we met." The old man nodded and said, "You reminded me that life still has meaning." One evening, the mayor of the town came to the square. He had heard all about the old man and Emma's kindness. "We want to help," the mayor said. "We have a small home available for you." The old man looked shocked. "A real home?" He whispered with tears, Yes, said the mayor. It's warm, safe, and yours. The old man stood slowly, his hands shaking. Thank you, he said. This is more than I ever hoped for. Emma clapped her hands in joy. Now you won't be cold anymore, she said happily. That weekend, the town helped move the old man into his new home. Some people brought furniture, others brought food. Emma and her mom helped clean and decorate. The old man sat on his new bed, looking around. It's perfect, he whispered. I feel like I belong again. The old man, whose name was Mr. Harris, became a friend to many in town. He often visited the school to read stories. Children sat around him, listening with wide eyes. He always ended with, "Kindness is magic. It changed my life. It can change yours too." Emma felt proud every time she saw Mr. Harris smile. We just helped a little, she told her mom one day. Her mom replied, that little help became something big. Emma nodded and said, it started with one small touch of kindness. Years later, Emma grew up and became a teacher. She always told her students the story of Mr. Harris. Never think you're too small to make a change, she said. A kind heart is stronger than anything else. Mr. Harris loved his new home. It was small but warm, with soft light and a window that let in the sun. Each morning, he opened the window to watch people pass by. Sometimes, children waved at him and he waved back. His days were now full of peace and purpose. Every Friday, Mr. Harris baked something simple in his tiny oven. He made muffins, cookies, or warm bread. He shared them with neighbors, teachers, and the children. People started calling him Grandpa Harris. It made him smile every time he heard it. Emma still visited often. She brought flowers, books, or just herself to sit and talk. One afternoon, she asked, "Do you ever feel lonely now?" Mr. Harris shook his head gently. "Not anymore. You and the town gave me family. That's the greatest gift." One winter, the town had heavy snow. The streets were covered, and some people couldn't leave their homes. Mr. Harris worked with the school to help. Children packed food bags, and adults helped deliver them. Even in the cold, kindness warmed the town. Emma saw how people helped one another and felt proud. "This is the town I love," she said to her mother. Her mother smiled and replied, "Kindness has become a part of everyone's heart." The little spark Emma started had grown into a bright light. One spring morning, Mr. Harris stood in front of the school. He had a surprise for the children. He had planted a kindness garden beside the playground. It had flowers, benches, and a little sign that read, "Kindness grows where hearts are open." The children loved the garden. They brought seeds, painted stones, and wrote messages on little wooden boards. Messages like "You matter, be kind, and share your smile." It became a special place where students sat to think or write letters to their friends. Years passed, and the kindness garden grew more beautiful. Teachers used it as a place to teach about helping others. Emma, now a full-time teacher, brought her class there often. She told them the story of a little girl, a cold man, and a sandwich. Mr. Harris became older and slower, but he never missed a visit to the school garden. He often sat on the bench, watching the children play. They came to hug him, talk to him, and hear his stories. "You are the reason this garden exists," one child told him. One day, Mr. Harris wasn't at the garden. The town soon heard he had passed away peacefully in his sleep. Though there were tears, there were also smiles. Everyone remembered him with love. The mayor declared a special day in his honor, Kindness Day. On Kindness Day, every person in town did something good for someone else. Children gave hugs. Adults shared food and warm drinks. Emma stood in the garden, her hand on the bench, and whispered, "Thank you, Grandpa Harris." She turned to her students and said, "This garden, this day, this love, it all began with one touch of kindness." The students listened quietly, understanding how even small acts can change lives. They promised to always be kind. Now, every year, the town celebrates Kindness Day with joy. People remember Mr. Harris and young Emma, and how their meeting changed everything. And in the garden, flowers bloom. Stones shine, and the message still stands: kindness grows where hearts are open. Years passed, and the little town became known for its kindness. Visitors came to see the famous garden and learn about the story behind it. Schools in other towns heard about Emma and Mr. Harris. Many started their own gardens of kindness, planting seeds of care and hope. Emma continued teaching, sharing the story every year. Her students never forgot it. Some of them grew up to become nurses, teachers, or helpers in their own way. They said the kindness they saw as children helped shape who they became. Emma knew Mr. Harris would be proud. One day, Emma stood in the garden with her own daughter, Lily. The flowers were in bloom, and children laughed nearby. This garden started with one simple act, Emma told Lily. Just a sandwich, a scarf, and a warm smile. That's all it took to change a life. Lily looked around and said, "I want to be kind too, Mama." Emma kissed her forehead and replied, "You already are." They sat on the bench named after Mr. Harris. The wind gently moved the flowers, as if whispering, "Kindness lives on." At the edge of the garden stood a statue of Mr. Harris, smiling with open arms. On the base, it read, "One kind act can grow forever." People touched the statue for good luck. Some left notes or drawings. All felt something special in that peaceful place. The town never forgot the cold morning when Emma first stopped to help. That moment became a light that never went out. Every person in town carried a little more care in their hearts. It reminded them that love doesn't need to be big, just real. And so, the story of Emma and Mr. Harris lives on, not just in books or signs, but in everyday life. In every hug, every shared meal, every kind word spoken. Because kindness, once given, never ends. It keeps moving, heart to heart, hand to hand.